What's up, people? This is Honest Masculinity. This is a YouTube channel based on personal development, dating advice, and how to build confidence, build social skills. So if that sounds good to you and that's something you're interested in, welcome here. Today we will make a remake video. It's a remake of a video I made a couple of months ago, but it was just too many personal information in it, so I took it down. It was also about other people that I didn't really want to get into it, and that's why I deleted it. But today we'll make a remake of the same things. We will talk about the nice guy subject again, but it's not just nice guys, it's kind of personal development in general. Mainly it's about fears today and what you can gain if you face the things you fear, and that's scary as fuck, but there's also real promise in it. So if you like that, then stay tuned and enjoy the video. Okay, so the title comes from the book No More Mr. Nice Guy again, because he says that you can beat your nice guy syndrome by facing your fears. It's not just about like this nice guy topic, but if you read some stuff about psychology and personal development, you can see that often it's about fear. And a lot of times people will advise you to face your fears. I did that very often in the last couple of months, and I want to talk about exactly this topic. All right, so the first thing, what is actually fear? Fear is simply an emotion that signalizes that you could be in danger if you do the thing that you put into your mind. The thing is that your emotions evolved in the savannah a couple of thousand years ago and are not very precise when it comes to threats today, because back then the world was extremely dangerous and people were very homicidal and cruel and killed each other like flies. But today that's not necessarily the case. So sometimes your fear is completely irrational and not very well into place. So let's say for example your boss screams at you, you feel threatened. How high is the chance that you actually get physically hurt? It's very low, and even if you do, you can sue the shit out of the guy if you survive and get some high payback for it. So it's not even negative. And the cool shit is that even back in the savannah, when the things you feared, you need to cap attention to it, right? So fear says you need to be alert. And usually when a threat happens, what is the best thing? I think it's still better to live courageously and face the things that you fear than to run from it like a little bitch. So when it comes to science, there's an amazing book from Ernest Becker. For the first part, he was a psychologist at UC Berkeley in the end, I think, and he won the Pulitzer Prize for this book. And there's one, it's mainly about like Sigmund Freud and Kierkegaard and all these kind of like old psychologists and philosophers, but it's about these old philosophers and psychologists. And there was like a sentence I remembered, and he said, anxiety is always the best school, and sometimes you need to stand naked in life, which for me represents mainly like going into the thing that threatens you the most or that you fear the most, and just say, okay, fuck it, I'm going to face whatever comes into my direction. And the cool thing is too that neuroscientists actually start discovering that if you start facing your fears, you build new neurological structures, which is painful because, you know, if you have to rewire your brain, you're going to feel pain, but you will start producing new proteins. You will transform yourself actually in a new kind of human, which is pretty cool shit, right? So that's definitely worth considering. Cool. When it comes to meeting women, I think their common anxieties are very, very common for most of the guys, probably to either start a conversation with a woman or to make physical contact with them. At least it was for me the case. And these kind of fears are extremely irrational, but there's literally nothing that can happen to you in most of the cases. So if you start a conversation with a stranger, like worst case, they're just gonna like run away from you and scream that you're like creepy rapist. So what? I mean, you haven't done anything. So there's literally nothing that can happen to you legally or whatsoever. All right, the second thing is that physical contact was for me very, very scary, or is still extremely scary with women, but it keeps you really from the interactions you could have with them. So if you're frightened of physical escalation, for example, it's good, for my opinion, good thing to just face that fear and put yourself in a situation where you initiate like physical contact with girls. Okay, so if you apply these concepts in your life, there is what psychotherapists do. If you go to a psychotherapist and you see cognitive behavioral therapists and you want to beat your anxiety, what they do is they give you like little steps, right? They just don't throw you in a cold water. They will give you like little steps. Imagine you're afraid of spiders. They first will show you have a picture of spiders, and you go see them a meter away, and then in the end you can let the spiders walk all over you. The last story, I want to give an example that I had with fears that was pretty damn embarrassing, but shows the kind of value you can get. So a couple of months ago, I was in Marseille and I met a girl there, right? And she was really nice, really beautiful, and yeah. And well, I got pretty attached to her very quickly and said the same thing. So she was like, yeah, I'm pretty attached to blah, 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 blah. My very naive brain already invented like, oh my God, she's perfect, blah, 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 blah. It's not all bullshit. I mean, I've known her for like one night. Anyhow, then I did something which was extremely embarrassing, because after I met her, I found like stains of poop in my underpants, and I texted her that on WhatsApp. And not only did I do that, I put the story into my WhatsApp status, and I think I even put a picture of my underpants. I think that in the underpants you couldn't really see poop, but I put a picture of my underpants on social media too. I was extremely frightened to do that, but that's why I did it. And the amazing thing was, well, she blocked me instantly after that on WhatsApp, and was fucking not nice. The next day I went out because I felt like shit about it, and I met a group of people, and I always like never really talked to them, just for a minute or two, always superficial, and we never got like on the same level. And then they were just like, hey, how are you? And I just told them, yeah, like this shit happened to me. And it was like, what? Like hugely emotional, polarizing. But then they started to open themselves up too. And there was a girl in the bar who was like, yeah, you know what the worst thing that happened to me was in my life? I had sex with 5 guys at the same time, and my whole family walked in and they all saw it. The next day, their dad committed suicide. She thought it was her fault. And 2 years later, the mother died from cocaine overdose. Then she had to go and work as a prostitute. I mean, she was pretty hot, so it was like kind of a high-level prostitute, but anyhow. And yeah, I mean, she cried. It was completely heartbreaking to hear the story. I was honestly moved to tears too. And these kind of situations are really where you see, okay, when you face your fears and you experience that horrible shit, at least you can connect with people who are on the same level, and they will open up to you in ways that you could never imagine. It's really amazing. And yeah, so I hope with this story I could present why it's a good thing to face your fears and also be open about your struggles and your pain, because people will just see this as confident behavior and react in the same manner and open themselves up too. All right, so I want to end this video with 2 quotes I really like. The first one's from Will Smith. He says, the best things in life are on the other side of fear, which is, I think, an amazing quote. And the second one is from Mark Twain. So, and just in case the things you fear are outside of social norms, normal is something to get away from, not something to aspire to, I think. Might be wrong, I have no clue. But I think it sounds cool, and I'm kind of intellectual asset, so yeah. I hope you enjoyed this video. I could give you some value, guys, and stay tuned for the next video. Peace.